Excuse me? I believe this is my table? Eleanor Hargrove's head snapped up, her face twisted with disgust. Oh, you believe? She let out a harsh laugh. Honey, people like you don't get tables like this. You get in the back alley with the garbage bags. Her husband, Reginald, leaned back in the stolen chair. Are you deaf or just stupid? This is for investors, not whatever welfare check brought you here. Eleanor grabbed the reserved placard, Alex Hayes, Apex Ventures, and tossed it like a frisbee. Security, we have a situation. Somebody is pretending he belongs with civilized people. She turned to nearby tables, voice dripping with venom. Can you believe this? They'll let anyone walk in off the street now. Probably saw the valet parking and thought he could scam some rich people. The man stood perfectly still, his tailored navy suit, his calm eyes, his dignified silence. Phones came out, recording, laughing. Whispers rippled through the crowd. No one helped. What none of them knew. In 60 minutes, these two would be begging on their knees. 2 hours earlier, Alexander Hayes had stood in his corner office. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the San Francisco Bay. The afternoon sun painted gold across his desk. His assistant Emily knocked. She held a garment bag. Your suit for tonight, Mr. Hayes. Navy like you requested. Low-key. Alexander smiled. Perfect. I don't want to stand out. Emily raised an eyebrow. You're the keynote sponsor. $2.5 million. You're supposed to stand out. The donation is for the kids, not for me. Alexander checked his watch. What time does it start? 7. But your speech is at 8:30. Emily hesitated. You know the Hargroves will be there, right? Alexander nodded slowly. Reginald and Eleanor Hargrove. Monday's meeting. They still haven't looked you up. I checked their assistant's calendar notes. They think they're meeting some Silicon Valley tech bro named A. Hayes. Emily shook her head. They have no idea what you look like. Good. Alexander's voice was calm. Let's keep it that way. The innovation for Tomorrow Gala was San Francisco's premier charity event. Every year, tech moguls and old money gather on a private rooftop. They wrote checks. They networked. They pretended to care about underprivileged kids getting STEM education. Alexander actually cared. He'd grown up in the Mission District in San Francisco. His mother cleaned offices at night. His father drove a bus. Alexander had learned to code in a cramped library with outdated computers. One scholarship changed everything. Now he ran Apex Ventures, $340 million in assets, investments in 52 startups. 31 of them were led by women or people of color. The industry called him the Quiet King. He didn't do magazine covers. He didn't post on social media. He let his results speak. Reginald Hargrove was different. Loud, flashy, inherited everything. Hargrove Industries made industrial parts. Old family money. For decades, they'd coasted. Now the company was hemorrhaging cash. The green energy pivot required capital they didn't have. Reginald needed $50 million fast. Alexander's team had done due diligence. The numbers looked decent. The tech was promising. But something felt off. Former employees whispered about a hostile culture. HR complaints swept under expensive rugs. Still, Alexander believed in second chances. Monday's meeting would determine everything. He slipped into the navy suit. Simple, elegant, no flashy tie, no designer watch visible, just quality fabric and quiet confidence. The drive to the venue took 20 minutes. Alexander drove himself. No chauffeur, no entourage. The Summit Pavilion rose 60 stories above the financial district. Its rooftop terrace was legendary. Tonight, string lights wrapped around white columns. A jazz quartet played near the bar. Waiters in crisp white jackets carried champagne trays. Alexander pulled up to valet parking. A young attendant jogged over. His smile faded when he saw Alexander. Sir, Are you with the catering company? Alexander kept his voice even. No, I'm a guest. The attendant looked confused. Oh, okay, it's just the service vehicles usually go around back. I'm not in service. Alexander handed over his keys. Alexander Hayes. I should be on the list. The attendant checked his tablet. His eyes widened. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mr. Hayes. It's fine. Alexander tipped him $20. Happens all the time. Inside, the coat check attendant made the same assumption. The kitchen staff entrance is downstairs. Honey, Alexander showed his invitation. The woman's face went red. The pattern continued. A security guard asked for his employee badge. A socialite asked if he was with the entertainment. An older gentleman assumed he was someone's driver. Each time Alexander corrected them politely. Each time they stammered apologies. By the time he reached the main terrace, his jaw was tight, but his face remained calm. The space was breathtaking. Glass walls overlooked the glittering city. Crystal chandeliers hung from an illuminated ceiling. Round tables draped in white linen filled the floor. Near the stage, one table had a special placard. Gold lettering on black cardstock reserved for Alex Hayes, Apex Ventures, plus guests. The best table in the house, front row, 6 seats. Alexander had arrived alone. He preferred it that way. He scanned the crowd. Familiar faces, tech CEOs, venture capitalists, a few celebrities, everyone dressed to impress. Then he saw them. Reginald Hargrove. Tall, silver hair, expensive suits that screamed old money. He stood near the bar, laughing too loud at his own jokes. Eleanor Hargrove, blonde hair in an elaborate updo, a dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, diamonds at her throat and wrists. They hadn't seen him yet. Alexander took a breath. He straightened his jacket. He walked toward his table. That's when everything went wrong. Alexander approached his table. The gold placard gleamed under the chandeliers. His name, his company, his seat. But Reginald and Eleanor Hargrove had already claimed it. Eleanor sat in the center chair, scrolling through her phone. Reginald stood beside her, sipping champagne. Their designer coats draped over 2 other chairs. Alexander stopped 3 feet away. Excuse me, I believe this is my table. Eleanor's head snapped up. Her eyes traveled from his face down to his shoes, then back up slowly, deliberately. Her lip curled. Your table? She laughed, sharp and cutting. Honey, people like you don't get tables like this. You get the back alley with the garbage bags. Reginald turned. His face hardened. Are you deaf or just stupid? This is for investors. Real money, not whatever welfare check brought you here. Alexander kept his voice level. I'm Alex Hayes from Apex Ventures. This table is reserved under my name. Alex Hayes is our investor, Eleanor snapped. We're meeting him Monday. You're not him. I can assure you, stop. Reginald stepped forward, chest puffed. Stop embarrassing yourself. We know what Alex Hayes looks like. Silicon Valley type. Probably wearing jeans and a hoodie. You? He gestured dismissively. You're just some guy in a cheap suit trying to scam free food. Alexander reached slowly into his jacket pocket. I have my invitation right here. Don't you dare reach for anything. Reginald's voice rose. Several heads turned. What are you pulling? Does everyone see this? He's reaching. A security guard noticed the commotion. He started walking over. Eleanor grabbed the reserved placard from the table. She held it up like evidence. This says A. Hayes, not whatever your name is. She tossed it toward an empty table behind her. The card fluttered to the floor. Ma'am, that's actually my Alexander began. Security. Eleanor's voice cut across the terrace. We have a situation here. Somebody is pretending he belongs with civilized people. The guard arrived, middle-aged, uncertain expression. What's the problem? This man, Eleanor pointed at Alexander like he was contaminated, is harassing us, claiming he's our investor. It's pathetic. Reginald nodded. We politely told him these seats are taken. He won't leave. Now he's reaching into his jacket. Who knows what he's got in there? The guard looked at Alexander. Sir, do you have an invitation? Yes. Alexander pulled out the embossed card. I'm Alexander Hayes, Apex Ventures. This table is reserved for me. The guard studied the invitation, his brow furrowed. This looks legit. Of course, it looks legit, Eleanor said loudly. That's what makes it a good fake. You can print anything these days. She turned to the growing crowd of onlookers. Can you believe this? They'll let anyone walk in off the street now. Probably saw the valet parking and thought he could scam some rich people. Whispers rippled through nearby tables. Phones came out. A woman in a red dress started recording. Reginald pointed at the guard. Do your job. Remove him, or do we need to call the real police? Alexander remained calm, his hands at his sides. I'm simply trying to explain. Explain what? Eleanor stood up. That you crashed a charity gala? That you're impersonating a guest? That's probably illegal. A young woman with a clipboard rushed over. The event coordinator. She looked flustered. I'm so sorry. What's happening here? This man, Reginald gestured at Alexander, is causing a scene. Claims he's Alex Hayes. The coordinator glanced at her tablet. Her face went pale. Actually, nothing. Eleanor interrupted. We had a Zoom meeting scheduled with Alex Hayes last week. He didn't show up. Typical, but we know who we're meeting Monday. It's not him. The coordinator looked between Alexander and the Hargroves. But sir, I have Mr. Hayes's photo in our VIP database. Your database is clearly wrong, Reginald said. We're the Hargroves, Hargrove Industries. We donate to this cause every year. Are you really going to take his word over ours? The coordinator bit her lip. She looked at Alexander. Sir, maybe we could just step aside and verify. No. Eleanor's voice was ice. No more coddling, no more political correctness. These events bend over backward for diversity. Let anyone in for the photo ops. Well, I'm not playing along. She turned to the watching crowd. Her voice projected across the terrace. This is exactly what's wrong with these charity functions. Standards don't matter anymore. Heritage doesn't matter. They're so desperate to look inclusive that they let people like this walk right in. A man at a nearby table cleared his throat. Eleanor, maybe. No, Charles. She cut him off. This matters. We built this country, our families, our contributions, and now we're supposed to just hand everything over. Just smile and pretend everyone belongs everywhere. Reginald nodded. She's right. There's a natural order. Some people earn their place at tables like this, others don't. Simple as that. Alexander's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed quiet. I understand you're upset, but if you just look at the seating chart. Upset? Eleanor laughed. I'm not upset. I'm protecting standards. Someone has to. She looked at the security guard. Last chance. Remove him or I'm calling 911 and reporting a threatening individual. Threatening? Alexander's eyes widened slightly. I haven't threatened anyone. You reached into your jacket, Reginald said. That's threatening, and you refused to leave when asked. That's trespassing. The guard looked uncomfortable. Sir, maybe it's best if you just come with me. We can sort this out in the office. Alexander met the guard's eyes. He saw the apology there. The man was just doing his job or trying to. It's all right, Alexander said softly. I'll step aside. Good, Eleanor said. Finally. She sat back down in Alexander's chair. She smoothed her dress. She picked up a champagne flute from the table like she'd won something. Reginald settled into the seat beside her. You have to be firm with these people. Otherwise they walk all over you. Alexander turned to the coordinator. May I speak with your director privately? The coordinator nodded quickly. Of course, Mr. She caught herself. Of course, this way. As Alexander walked toward the side of the terrace, he heard Eleanor's voice carry. Finally, some peace. You have to stand your ground. That's what's wrong with this generation. No backbone. Reginald ordered another champagne. He raised his glass to the people at nearby tables. Some looked away. Others offered weak smiles. A woman in her 60s leaned toward her husband. Did you see that? Her husband whispered back. Don't get involved, Margaret. At another table, a younger man pulled out his phone. He typed rapidly. His screen showed Twitter. The tweet was already posted. Watching a black man get ejected from a charity gala for not belonging. This is 2025. Sarkir Hargrove racism. The video clip from the woman in red had already been shared 40 times. Alexander stood near the bar area. The event director arrived breathless, short, gray hair, glasses. Mr. Hayes, I am so sorry. Alexander held up a hand. It's not your fault, Ellen. But they're sitting at your table. Your donation made this whole night possible. I know. Alexander's voice was quiet. Steady. But don't make a scene. Not yet. Ellen looked confused. Not yet. Trust me. Alexander glanced back at the Hargroves. They were laughing, toasting, victorious. Let them enjoy their moment. Ellen followed his gaze. Understanding slowly dawned on her face. Oh my. What time is my speech? Alexander asked. 8:30. 20 minutes. Alexander smiled, small, controlled. Perfect. Let's proceed exactly as planned. Ellen nodded, but her hands shook as she walked away. Alexander stood alone near the bar. Other guests glanced at him, then quickly looked away, uncomfortable, complicit. He took a slow breath. He thought about his mother. How many times had she been treated like this? How many rooms had told her she didn't belong? The difference was she'd never had the power to respond. Alexander did. And in 20 minutes, everyone in this room would know it. Eleanor settled deeper into Alexander's chair. She crossed her legs. Her stiletto heel bobbed with satisfaction. Well, that was exhausting, she said to the woman at the next table. But necessary. You have to protect standards. Otherwise, who knows what kind of people show up next? The woman gave a tight smile. She didn't respond. She suddenly found her champagne very interesting. Reginald scrolled through his phone. Still nothing from Hayes's office. These Silicon Valley types think they're so important. Make you wait. Make you beg. When we finally meet him Monday, Eleanor said, you need to be firm. Don't let him lowball us. We're Hargroves. We don't grovel for money. Reginald nodded. 50 million is our minimum. If he can't do that, we walk. A waiter approached. Young, nervous. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Hargrove. The event director would like a word. Eleanor waved him off like a mosquito. Not now. We're networking. The waiter retreated quickly. Reginald raised his glass toward a man 3 tables over. Henderson, did you see that? We just secured the best seats in the house. Henderson looked uncomfortable. He lifted his glass weakly. Then he turned back to his wife and whispered something. They both glanced toward the bar where Alexander stood. Eleanor didn't notice. She was checking her phone. Her eyes widened. Reg, look at this. Look what my Instagram, why do I have 73 notifications? Reginald frowned. Everyone probably wants to know about the party. Eleanor scrolled. Her face went from confused to pale. No, this isn't Reg. We're on Twitter, so we're always on social media, not like this. Her voice dropped. She showed him the screen. Reginald leaned in. His expression changed. What the hell? The top tweet had been retweeted 400 times in 10 minutes. It showed a photo of them at the table. The caption read, Rich white couple throws black man out of charity gala. Says he doesn't belong with civilized people. This is disgusting. Hargrove Racism Summit Pavilion. Below it, a video clip 15 seconds. Eleanor's voice, crystal clear. People like you don't get tables like this. You get in the back alley with the garbage bags. The view count climbed as they watched. 8,000, 10,000, 12,000. Reginald's jaw clenched. Who recorded that? Does it matter? Eleanor's hands shook. Reg, the comments. She scrolled. Her face went wider with each line. Absolutely vile behavior. This is what racism looks like in expensive dresses. The audacity of these people. Hope they lose everything. Eleanor looked around the terrace. She noticed for the first time how many phones were pointed in their direction, how many people whispered behind their hands. "This is bad," she whispered. "It's fine." Reginald's voice was tight. "It'll blow over. These things always do." But his hand gripped his champagne glass too hard. His knuckles were white. At the bar, Alexander checked his own phone. His CFO, Emily, had texted. "I'm watching the live stream. Twitter is blowing up. Do you want me to pull the donation?" Alexander typed back, "No, the donation stays. It's for the kids, not me." Emily responded immediately. "What about the Hargrove meeting Monday?" Alexander paused. His fingers hovered over the screen. Then he typed, "Pull their due diligence files. All of them. I want every HR complaint, every lawsuit, every whisper. Send it to my email in 1 hour. Or, 10 words." "Already on it," Emily replied. "Alexander, you could destroy them." "I don't want to destroy anyone," Alexander typed. "I want the truth." He pocketed his phone. He looked across the terrace at the Hargroves. They were huddled together now, phones out, scrolling frantically. The jazz quartet finished a song. Polite applause rippled across the crowd. The event coordinator took the stage. She tapped the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight." The crowd quieted. "We'll begin our program shortly," she continued. Her voice wavered slightly. "Before we start, I want to remind everyone why we're here. This gala supports STEM education for underserved youth. Every dollar raised tonight changes a child's life." She paused. She glanced toward Alexander, then toward the Hargroves. "Tonight's program celebrates breaking barriers, creating opportunities, and judging people not by assumptions, but by character and contribution." A few people in the crowd shifted uncomfortably. More glances toward the Hargroves' table. Eleanor felt the stares. "Why is everyone looking at us?" Reginald's phone buzzed. Then again, and again. "It's my brother and my mother, and why is the board chairman calling me?" He stood up. "I need to take this." He walked to the edge of the terrace. He pressed the phone to his ear. "Hello?" "Yes, I saw it. It's being taken out of context." His face darkened. "What do you mean the shareholders are asking questions? It's a 30-second clip." He listened. His shoulders sagged. "I understand. Yes, I'll call you tomorrow." He hung up. He stared at his phone. Then he saw the emails. 6 new messages, all marked urgent. One from the company's lead attorney. "We need to talk immediately." One from their largest client. "Saw the video. We're reviewing our partnership." One from a board member. "Emergency meeting Monday morning before your investor pitch." Reginald walked back to the table. His face was gray. "Eleanor, we need to leave." "What?" "Why? Just trust me. We need to go now." Eleanor looked around. Every nearby table had gone quiet. People weren't even pretending not to stare anymore. "No." Eleanor lifted her chin. "No, we're not running. We didn't do anything wrong." "Eleanor, that man was clearly lying. Obviously trying to scam people. We protected everyone here. They should be thanking us." A woman at the next table stood up abruptly. She grabbed her purse. "Excuse me," she muttered. She moved to a different table across the room. Eleanor watched her go. "What's her problem?" Reginald sat back down heavily. This is bad. This is really bad. Stop saying that. Eleanor's voice was sharp, but her hands trembled as she checked her phone again. Her sister texted, "OMG, Eleanor, what did you do?" Her mother, "Call me now." Her best friend, "I can't believe you said that. I can't be associated with this. Please don't contact me." Her country club social chair, "The board has asked me to reach out regarding your membership." Eleanor's breath came faster. No. What? My country club there. Oh God, Reg, what did we do? We didn't do anything, Reginald said, but his voice lacked conviction. We made a mistake, that's all. A mistake? Eleanor's voice rose. They're calling us racists, Reg. Racists. Lower your voice. Don't tell me to lower my voice. You're the one who said I said what needed to be said. Reginald's jaw set. That man didn't belong there. But what if? Eleanor stopped. Her eyes went wide. Reg, what if he was telling the truth? What? What if he really is Alex Hayes? Reginald laughed. Harsh, bitter, impossible. But what if he's not? I would know. I researched. He stopped. His face went slack. I researched the company, not the person. They stared at each other. Eleanor grabbed her phone. She typed frantically into Google. Alexander Hayes, Apex Ventures. The first result was a Forbes article. The Quiet King, Alexander Hayes's 340-millimeter empire. Below it, a photo. The same man, navy suit, calm eyes, standing in front of floor-to-ceiling windows. Eleanor's phone slipped from her hand. It clattered on the table. Reginald grabbed it. He looked at the screen. All color drained from his face. No, he whispered. Reg, no, this can't. The coordinator's voice came through the speakers again. And now I have the profound honor of introducing our evening's keynote sponsor. Eleanor's head snapped toward the stage. A man whose generosity has transformed thousands of lives, the coordinator continued. A visionary whose work speaks louder than words. Reginald tried to stand. His legs wouldn't work. A man who just minutes ago was told he didn't belong here. The entire room went silent. Every head turned toward the Hargroves table. Eleanor felt hundreds of eyes on her. She couldn't breathe. Please welcome the founder and CEO of Apex Ventures, our lead sponsor, who has donated $2, $5 million to this cause. The coordinator paused. The silence stretched. Mr. Alexander Hayes. The spotlight swung across the room. It landed on Alexander, still standing near the bar. The room erupted in applause. Some people stood immediately. Others sat frozen, shocked. Alexander walked calmly toward the stage. His steps were measured, confident, dignified. He passed directly by the Hargroves table. Eleanor's champagne glass was frozen halfway to her lips. Her mouth hung open. Reginald had both hands on the table like he might fall over without support. Alexander didn't look at them. He simply walked past, climbed the stage steps, took the microphone. The applause continued. Louder building. And the Hargroves sat in his stolen chair, watching their entire world collapse in real time. Alexander stood center stage. The spotlight warmed his face. The applause slowly faded. The room held its breath. He smiled, gentle, calm, like nothing had happened. Thank you, Ellen, and thank you all for being here tonight. His voice was steady, clear. It carried effortlessly across the silent terrace. I want to address what happened earlier. He paused. Let the words settle. Because it matters. Because it's exactly why this cause exists. Every eye in the room was on him, phones recorded from every angle. About 20 minutes ago, I approached my reserved table. Alexander gestured toward where the Hargroves sat frozen. That table right there. Heads turned. The Hargroves shrank in their seats. I was told I didn't belong. Not because I lacked an invitation, not because I hadn't donated, but because of how I look. The silence deepened. Uncomfortable. Heavy. I was told to find my people in the kitchen, that people like me belong in back alleys with garbage bags, that I was probably here to scam rich people with a fake invitation. Eleanor's face was ghost white. Tears welled in her eyes, but didn't fall. Reginald stared at his hands, his jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. The couple who said those things, Alexander continued, his voice never rising, never hardening, is sitting at my table right now in my seat. The entire room turned to look. Some people gasped, others shook their heads. And here's the interesting part. Alexander's smile was slight, knowing, that couple has a meeting with me on Monday morning about a $50 million investment in their company. Audible shock rippled through the crowd. Whispers erupted. Eleanor made a small sound like a wounded animal. Alexander let the moment breathe. He waited until the room quieted again. "Had," he said softly. They had a meeting, past tense. The words landed like a hammer. "Because I don't invest in people who see other human beings as less than human. I don't build partnerships with people who use their privilege as a weapon. I don't do business with racists." The applause started small. One person, then 5, then 50, then the entire room stood. Thunderous, sustained. Alexander waited, his hands clasped in front of him, patient. When the applause finally ebbed, he continued. "Some of you are wondering if I'm being too harsh, if maybe it was just a misunderstanding." He shook his head. "It wasn't. You all heard what was said. Many of you recorded it. Those words weren't accidental. They revealed a world view." He looked directly at the Hargrove. Now Eleanor was crying openly. Reginald's face was buried in his hands. "I'm not angry," Alexander said, and his voice made it true. "I'm disappointed, because in 2025, in spaces dedicated to progress and opportunity, this still happens every single day." He turned back to the broader audience. "But tonight isn't about them. It's not about me either. It's about 10,000 students who will receive STEM scholarships because of your generosity. It's about breaking real barriers, not perpetuating old ones. More applause. Gentler this time. Respectful." "So please," Alexander gestured to the Hargroves' table, "don't let this moment distract from the real work. Let it teach us. Let it remind us to see people, not assumptions, not stereotypes. People." He set the microphone back in the stand. He nodded to Ellen. Then he walked down the stage steps. The coordinator rushed to the Hargroves' table. Her face was stern, professional. "Mr. and Mrs. Hargrove," she said quietly, but not quietly enough. "You need to leave immediately." Eleanor looked up. Mascara streaked her cheeks. "Please, we didn't know. We didn't." "Now," Ellen said, "security will escort you." 2 guards appeared, the same middle-aged man from earlier, plus a younger colleague. Reginald stood on shaking legs. "Can't we just— we need to apologize. You need to leave," the coordinator repeated. "You're no longer welcome here. The walk to the exit was endless. Every table they passed fell silent. Guests pulled back like they might be contaminated. A man in his 70s, someone Reginald had known for 20 years, turned his entire chair away." Eleanor's sobs echoed across the marble floor. Reginald kept his eyes straight ahead. His face was stone, but his hands trembled at his sides. When they reached the elevator, Eleanor turned back. The entire terrace was visible from there, hundreds of people, all watching them leave. Alexander stood near the stage, talking quietly with Ellen. He glanced their way once. His expression wasn't triumphant. It wasn't angry. It was sad. The elevator doors closed. Eleanor collapsed against the wall. "What have we done?" "Oh, God. Reg, what have we done?" Reginald said nothing. He stared at his reflection in the polished doors. He didn't recognize the man looking back. The elevator descended 60 floors. Each floor felt like a year. When the doors opened to the lobby, Camera flashes exploded. News crews, reporters. They'd already arrived. Mr. Hargrove, do you have a comment on the video? Mrs. Hargrove, do you regret your words? Is it true you lost a $50 million investment? Reginald pushed through the crowd. His hand gripped Eleanor's arm too tight. She stumbled in her heels. They burst through the front doors into the cool night air. The valet brought their car, a Tesla, pristine white. Reginald didn't tip. He just grabbed the keys and drove. Eleanor cried the entire way home. Reginald said nothing. His phone buzzed continuously. Emails, texts, calls, all marked urgent. He didn't look at any of them because he already knew. In 30 seconds of assumptions and cruelty, they'd lost everything. And the man they'd insulted had barely raised his voice. The Hargroves' car screeched into their driveway at 9:47. Their Pacific Heights mansion loomed dark and empty. Usually, it felt like a castle. Tonight, it felt like a tomb. Eleanor stumbled inside. She kicked off her heels. They clattered across marble floors. She collapsed on the couch in the sitting room. Reginald went straight to his study. He poured scotch with shaking hands. 3 fingers. He downed it. Poured another. His phone had 93 unread messages. He opened the first email from the company's head of legal. Reginald, we need to discuss the video immediately. Shareholders are calling for emergency action. Several clients have expressed concerns. Call me tonight, no matter what time. The second email from their largest manufacturing client. We've reviewed the footage from tonight's event. Effective immediately, we're suspending our contract pending further review. We cannot be associated with this kind of behavior. That contract was worth $8 million annually. Reginald's hand tightened around his glass. Third email from a board member. I've known your family for 30 years. I'm ashamed. Emergency board meeting scheduled for Monday, 7 a.m. Your attendance is mandatory. Come prepared to explain yourself. Fourth email from their bank. In light of recent public events, we need to schedule a meeting to discuss your outstanding loan covenants and credit facilities. Reginald stopped reading, his vision blurred. In the sitting room, Eleanor's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She finally looked her mother. Eleanor Ann Hargrove, call me this instant. How could you embarrass this family? Her sister. Mom is having chest pains. The doctor says it's stress. This is your fault. Her best friend Melissa. Don't contact me again. I can't be seen with you. I have a reputation to protect. The Country Club. The membership committee has convened an emergency session. Your presence is requested Thursday at 10 a.m. to address your continued membership status. Her charity board positions. 3 emails, all variations of the same message. We're asking for your resignation, effective immediately. Eleanor's hands shook so badly, she dropped the phone. It bounced off the couch onto the floor. She walked to Reginald's study. He sat behind his mahogany desk, his head in his hands, an empty Scotch glass beside him. Reggie. Her voice was small, broken. What are we going to do? He didn't look up. I don't know. Can't we apologize? Explain it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? His laugh was bitter. Eleanor, there are 12 different videos from 12 different angles. High definition, perfect sound. You told a man he belongs in an alley with garbage. I didn't mean it doesn't matter what you meant. He finally looked at her. His eyes were red. Don't you understand? It doesn't matter. The words came out of your mouth in front of hundreds of people, and it's everywhere now. Eleanor sank into the chair across from him. Can we sue for defamation or something? Sue who? For what? Posting our own words? Silence stretched between them. Reginald's phone rang. He looked at the screen. It's Hayes's office. Eleanor sat up straight. Answer it. Maybe we can fix this. Reginald answered, put it on speaker. Hello? A woman's voice, cold, professional. Mr. Hargrove, this is Emily Carter, CFO of Apex Ventures. Miss Carter, thank you for calling. We need to speak with Mr. Hayes to explain. Mr. Hayes has no interest in speaking with you. Please, just 5 minutes. It was a terrible mistake, a misunderstanding. It was racism, Mr. Hargrove." Emily's voice was ice. Documented, recorded, deliberate racism, and frankly, our due diligence has uncovered a pattern. Reginald's face went pale. "What pattern?" 7 former employees, all people of color, all with similar stories of discrimination and hostile treatment, stories that were buried with NDAs and settlements. We found them. Eleanor made a small, whimpering sound. "Your meeting Monday is canceled," Emily continued. "All discussions with Apex Ventures are terminated. We will not be investing in Hargrove Industries now or ever. Mr. Hayes wanted me to tell you personally. Ms. Carter, please. One more thing. Mr. Hayes asked me to let you know he's forwarding our findings to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They'll be conducting their own investigation." The line went dead. Reginald stared at the phone. His hand was still holding it out like it might ring again, like she might call back and say it was a joke. Eleanor started crying again, loud, gasping, so Reginald set the phone down slowly. He looked at his wife. Really looked at her. Her makeup ruined, her expensive dress wrinkled, her whole life is crumbling. "We're finished," he said quietly. Eleanor didn't argue because they both knew he was right. 50 minutes of cruelty, 30 seconds of recorded video. One man they'd underestimated, and everything they'd built on privilege and prejudice was collapsing like a house of cards in a hurricane. Outside their mansion, a news van pulled up, then another. The vultures were gathering. The consequences had only just begun. Monday morning, 7 a.m., Hargrove Industries boardroom. 12 board members sat around a long table. Their faces were stone. Reginald entered alone. Eleanor had been uninvited. The chairman didn't offer coffee, didn't shake hands. He pointed to a chair at the far end of the table. "Sit." Reginald sat. His $5,000 suit suddenly felt cheap. The chairman opened a folder. "We've completed a preliminary review of Friday's incident, and what we found goes far beyond one video." He slid documents across the table. Reginald didn't need to look. He knew what they were. 7 former employees have come forward, all people of color, all terminated or forced to resign between 2019 and 2024. All paid settlements with NDAs. A woman board member spoke up. "We weren't informed of these settlements." "Why?" Reginald's throat was dry. "They were handled through legal standard practice." "Standard practice?" The chairman's voice rose. "Maria Gonzalez fired 3 days after complaining about racial slurs in the warehouse. You paid her $200,000 to stay quiet." He flipped a page. David Carter, passed over for promotion 4 times despite highest performance reviews, filed an internal complaint, resigned 2 weeks later with a $150,000 settlement. Another page. Jamal Williams reported to HR that his supervisor called him boy repeatedly. The supervisor kept his job. Jamal was let go for performance issues. $225,000 payout. Reginald's hands gripped his knees under the table. Those were complicated situations, different contexts. There is no context. A younger board member interrupted. That justifies this pattern. 7 cases. 1. $2 million in hush money, and Friday night, the whole world saw why. The chairman leaned forward. "The EOC called this morning. They're opening a formal investigation. The Department of Labor is interested, too. And 3 major clients have already terminated their contracts." Reginald's stomach dropped. "Which 3? Peterson Manufacturing, TechFlow Solutions, and as of 1 hour ago, Riverside Industrial. Those 3 contracts were worth $18 million annually, nearly 30% of revenue. The stock price opened down 41% this morning," the chairman continued. "Trading was halted twice. Shareholders are threatening lawsuits, and the media is camped outside our headquarters. He closed the folder. This board votes to remove you as CEO effective immediately. You'll retain a seat on the board for now, but zero operational authority. Reginald shot to his feet. You can't do this. My family built this company. Your family built it. You destroyed it. The chairman stood too. One more thing. Eleanor is banned from all company events, properties, and communications. If she shows up, security will remove her. The meeting was over. Reginald walked through his former office, past his assistant's desk. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Past executives who suddenly had urgent phone calls. Past the lobby where his grandfather's portrait hung. Outside, reporters swarmed. Mr. Hargrove, how do you respond to the racism allegations? He pushed through without comment, got in his car, drove home in silence. That afternoon, CNN ran a special segment, The Cost of Prejudice, how one viral video exposed corporate racism. They interviewed Alexander Hayes. He sat in his office, calm, measured. Mr. Hayes, some say you overreacted. It was just words. Alexander looked directly at the camera. Words reveal beliefs. Beliefs drive actions. Those actions affect real people's lives. This wasn't about a stolen seat. It was about a system that protects people like the Hargroves while punishing people who look like me. What about forgiveness? I believe in forgiveness, but I also believe in accountability. They didn't just insult me. Our investigation found years of discriminatory behavior, employees silenced with money, complaints buried. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. The segment went viral. 8 million views in 2 days. By Wednesday, 3 more Hargrove employees came forward. Current employees. No NDAs to silence them. I heard Mr. Hargrove say he wouldn't promote those people to management. He thought his office door was closed. It wasn't. Mrs. Hargrove came to the Christmas party last year. She told a black employee his cologne smelled urban. Then asked if he was related to the valet. The company has diversity training on paper, but Mr. Hargrove called it virtue signaling nonsense in a staff meeting. Friday morning, a law firm held a press conference. 7 former employees stood together. United, strong, their attorney spoke. We're filing a class action lawsuit against Hargrove Industries for systematic racial discrimination, hostile work environment, and wrongful termination. We're seeking $15 million in damages. A reporter asked, "Why come forward now?" Maria Gonzalez stepped to the microphone. Because I watched that video, I saw Mr. Hayes treated exactly how they treated me, and I realized my NDA doesn't matter anymore. The truth matters. The lawsuit was filed that afternoon. By Monday, 2 weeks after the gala, Hargrove Industries was hemorrhaging. Stock down 62%. 8 major clients are gone. 3 suppliers demanding cash up front instead of credit terms. The bank calling in loans. Reginald sat in a conference room with bankruptcy attorneys. You have 2 choices, the lead attorney said. Chapter 11, reorganization, or Chapter 7, liquidation. What's the difference? Chapter 11, you might save part of the company. Chapter 7, you sell everything and walk away. Reginald stared at the wall. His grandfather had started this company in 1952. 72 years. 3 generations gone in 2 weeks. We'll file Chapter 11, he said quietly. At home, Eleanor faced her own reckoning. Thursday morning, the country club. 10 a.m. She sat before a membership tribunal. 5 people she'd considered friends. They wouldn't look at her. Mr. Hargrove, the club president said. Your behavior at the charity gala violated our code of conduct, specifically our values of respect, dignity, and inclusion. Eleanor's voice shook. I've apologized. I've donated to racial justice organizations. What more can I do? Your membership is revoked, effective immediately. Your resignation from all club committees is accepted. You have 48 hours to remove your personal items from your locker. Eleanor stood. You're all hypocrites. Half of you have said worse at this club. Behind closed doors. I just got caught. The president's expression hardened. Then perhaps that's the lesson. Racism flourishes in silence. You brought it into the light, and now we all have to answer for it. Eleanor left the club for the last time. She'd spent 15 years networking there, building her social calendar, establishing her status. It meant nothing now. That evening, Alexander Hayes gave a speech at Stanford University Business School auditorium packed with students. Some of you saw the video from the gala, he said. Some of you think I destroyed 2 people's lives. Silence. Here's what I actually think. I revealed what was already there. Racism existed long before I arrived at that table. My presence just made it visible. A student raised her hand. Do you regret how it turned out for them? Alexander considered the question. I regret that it took public humiliation for accountability to happen. I regret that 7 employees suffered in silence because they had less power than I do. I regret that this story is remarkable instead of routine. He paused. But do I regret standing up? Do I regret pulling back the curtain? No, because silence protects abusers. Visibility protects victims. The auditorium erupted in applause. Outside, the Hargroves watched the live stream from their darkened living room. They'd lost the company. The mansion was in foreclosure. Their so-called friends had vanished. But watching Alexander Hayes speak with dignity and purpose, that was the real consequence. They'd had the chance to work with greatness, to learn from it, to be elevated by it. Instead, they'd chosen contempt. And contempt had taken everything. 6 months later, Alexander Hayes stood in his office. Same view, same skyline, different world. 2 teenagers sat across from him. Destiny from the Mission District, Marcus from Oakland. Both scholarship recipients. My mom cleans offices at night, Destiny said. She always told me education was the way out. This scholarship, it's everything. Marcus nodded. I want to build apps for our neighborhoods. Better transit, job connections, real solutions. Alexander smiled. You're why I do this. Not the investments, not the returns. You. We saw the video, Mr. Hayes, Destiny said quietly. What they did to you that night taught me something, Alexander replied. Dignity isn't about how people treat you. It's about how you respond. Marcus asked, Did you forgive them? I believe in consequences. They chose cruelty. Now they're learning what that costs. Alexander walked to the window. But I don't celebrate anyone's downfall. The truth was simple. Reginald Hargrove managed a hardware store. Now Eleanor worked as a dental receptionist, 2-bedroom apartment, bus routes, discount grocers, anonymous, the same invisibility they'd tried to impose on Alexander. They're rebuilding, Alexander said, learning or trying to. After the teenagers left, Alexander returned to his desk. He opened a document, the Dignity Initiative, Systematic Change in Venture Capital. One viral video had changed 2 lives, but millions still faced invisible discrimination daily. Real change required systems, not just consequences. His phone buzzed. Emily's text. New application for Second Chances program. Reginald Hargrove. Alexander stared at the screen. He'd created the program for people rebuilding after mistakes, even people like Reginald. He typed back, Review his application like anyone else's. If he's genuinely committed to change, consider it, because consequences without redemption weren't justice, they were revenge. Alexander looked at the photo on his desk, his mother smiling in her church clothes. She died 2 years ago, never saw his success, but she'd taught him everything. See the person, Alex, she'd say. Not their job, not their money, the person. He'd been seen that night. Finally, completely. Not by the Hargroves, by everyone watching, by teenagers like Destiny and Marcus, by people who'd been invisible their whole lives. That was the real reversal. Visibility versus invisibility. Alexander opened Twitter, typed one final thought. 6 months ago, I was told I didn't belong. Today, I'm funding 200 students who've been told the same. Change doesn't start with viral videos. It starts with daily choices. See people, all people. Choose dignity every time. He hit post, then closed the app, turned off his phone, got back to work. Because revenge was momentary. Justice was built one choice at a time, one scholarship, one opportunity, one act of seeing someone society taught you to ignore. The Hargroves lost everything trying to make him invisible, and in doing so, they'd made him and everyone like him impossible to ignore. That was the real consequence, and the real hope. Final question for you. What if Alexander Hayes hadn't been a millionaire? What if he'd been exactly who the Hargroves assumed, someone without power or status? Would the story still matter? Would you still care? Think about it. Because that's the person you'll meet tomorrow, on the bus, at the store, in line for coffee. The question isn't whether they're secretly powerful. The question is, will you see their humanity anyway? If this story made you think, share it. If you've ever been judged by appearance, comment below. Subscribe for more stories about justice, dignity, and real change. Because change starts with us. All of us. Today.